Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Saskia. I am an illustrator, artist, creative person, potato, living in Japan. I am originally from Germany, hence the name German Potato Art. And I am also a mom, and I share some of my work behind the scenes and stuff like that here on YouTube. But I have also an Instagram account which is where I started sharing my art, and which is the topic of this video, because I want to talk in this video about how Instagram is negatively affecting my work, my art, my health, my mental health. And I want to talk to you about why I basically think Instagram isn't the best social media platform for artists or any creative person out there. Just a quick disclaimer, this is just my opinion, this is just what I have been experiencing. Of course, you don't have to think that way, you don't have to agree with me, but if you clicked on this video, you maybe had some similar thoughts, and that is why you're here. Anyways, I hope that this video will at least spark a little discussion. So I made some notes here because I have a lot to talk about, and I'm not really good at talking, but I'm just gonna jump right in. So the first thing that I've realized recently is that Instagram has just so many impossible to meet demands. Like, the demands on the app are just increasing, and it's becoming impossible for one person to meet them all. And by saying that, I mean, I haven't been on Instagram for a very long time. I think I started my art account now 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, and before that I only had a personal account, and I would only share, you know, stuff about my life and things like that with my friends. That account is locked, so of course there's no need for me to try and get my things seen by other people or like picked up by the algorithm, because it's just not meant for those people to see. And before that I only had a Facebook account, so I'm really not someone who is very into social media or like connecting with other people on the internet, because the internet has always been a scary place for me. Like, I'm scared that people will find out where I live, or I'm scared that if I share too much of my personal life and things like that, like, if you once put it on the internet, it will always be there, and if someone wants to find it, they will find a way to get the information or get those pictures or whatever. So I was always a very scared person, or very hesitant putting my information out on the internet. But when I decided to share my art, the first thing that popped into my mind was Instagram, of course, because by the time I had decided, I think Tumblr and all those things weren't really like a big thing anymore, and the first thing that just popped into my mind that everybody was talking about was Instagram. So I just made an account and started sharing my stuff on there. The longer I was on there, and the more people started to following me and started to appreciate my art, and like the more my potato family grew on Instagram, the bigger the pressure became to constantly put content out there, which is what the app basically wants of you. So in order for your content, for your art to be able to be picked up by the algorithm and shared with people who haven't seen it yet, you have to be so active on the app. So you have to use the story feature, and you also have to use the reel feature that recently started on Instagram, which apparently is doing very well, so everybody is jumping on that train. And then you have to keep up in your comment section, and then there's the DM section as well, and if possible, you know, post a new picture or something every other day, if not every day. And if you're one person or like a very small business, I think that's pretty much impossible, because it's like a full-time job. If you think about, you have to create at least 1 or 2 artworks every day, which is already, if you can do that, good for you, I can't. Like, my creativity comes in waves, and even if I have a good wave, that doesn't mean that I create something that I want to share with everybody. So having something that I can put out there every day or every other day is such a big pressure and such a huge demand that really is driving me crazy. And on top of that, you have to like show behind the scenes and put something in your story so that thing is constantly running, so that the app sees you're active on there. And then you also have to come back to every comment and, you know, engage with people on top of your actual workload. So if you have a small business, or if you're maybe running an online shop or something, you have to pack orders, or you have to come up with new products or packaging, customer service, emails, stuff like that. If you're doing YouTube, you know, you have to sit down and shoot videos, edit videos, all those fun things. And on top of that huge workload, you have to add another huge workload, which is like a full-time job, which is Instagram. It has become this huge business tool, this marketing tool with so many rules and so many expectations, which are, in my opinion, impossible if you're only one person trying to do it all. Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with, and I will often find myself worrying more about the fact that I have to think about something that I can post in my stories, or that I haven't posted a story yet, or that I have to make a reel, or that I have to create content because I'm running out of things to post on my feed, than actually worrying about my products. And I also find myself spending much more time on those kind of things, like for example, if you're an artist and you want to create a reel, you have to sit down and set up your camera and then do the art. But between doing the art, you have to stop, you know, change the angles, and then setting everything up again. And it interrupts my workflow. When I want to draw, when I want to paint, I just want to sit down and paint and only focus on that. I don't want to have to think about if the camera is running, or if I have to change the angle, or if the light is right, and I don't want to be interrupted. But with reels, that's basically the thing. And then it's just so time consuming to make a reel. Like, I find that Instagram is taking more time that I actually want to spend on creating and making art and making products and, you know, doing what I wanted to do, like create, and not have to worry about my numbers or my feeds or my stories, or that I have to make a new reel and things like that. And it can also feel very forced, and I find it very sad that some people feel forced to do something they don't want to do. Like, if you don't feel like doing reels or taking videos of your process, then don't do it. That's my opinion. But Instagram is set up in a way that you're forced to do those things in order to get the exposure. Because if you don't do all of the things that the app wants you to do, you basically fall behind. I also think that because Instagram is set up in a way, like, it has this endless feed, and you're just scrolling through it and through it and through it, and all the stories are just like a certain amount of time, and it's just set up in a way that fits the short attention span that people have nowadays. So you just jump on the app and you consume content in a very limited amount of time, and then you're off. But you don't really take the time to sit down and actually look at what people have been creating. It doesn't even get the appreciation or the attention that it should get, just because Instagram is set up the way it is. And that, again, I find very sad. I think that is forcing people to create art and make to create art that fits all the criteria and that does well on the app. So maybe they are not creating what they really want to create, but they are doing something that they know will do good on the Instagram algorithm, and the algorithm will pick it up and then will get seen by many people. But it's not actually what they want to do. Like, also, in my opinion, just because art is being picked up by the algorithm and shared and gets a lot of likes doesn't really mean that it is good art, in my opinion. Of course, how we perceive art is very subjective. Is that the right word? Like, it really depends on your taste and on the person. Like, one person might not perceive the art the way that another person does. What I have seen on Instagram, most of the times it's more a matter of whether the art is, fitting the criteria and is speaking to a broad audience, or when you scroll through the search option of Instagram, where it shows you, like, the Explorer feed, I think it's called, where you can see a lot of new artists or artwork that you haven't seen yet. And it's so much that is put on there. It's not one by one by one. It's like a bunch of things that are just being thrown at you. And of course, you don't have the time or the attention to, like, look at every single one the way you should look at them. You just scroll through them and then you pick out single ones that catch your eye. So if that very, very small image is, like, for example, very saturated or in very high contrast, or it's just like popping out and standing in contrast to all the other images that is surrounding them, then of course it will catch your eye and will get picked up, and probably get picked up by a bunch of other people. And yeah, that is probably how those posts get a lot of attention. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the post beside, right next to it, is not good enough or worth than the post that simply just catch your eye. So yeah, you might be wondering why I am talking about all of these things. Why I am making a video about how I think Instagram sucks for artists. I basically just want to spark a discussion. Also, I just want to ask you or tell you to be mindful about how you spend your time, or how maybe those social media apps are affecting you in a more negative way than you would have thought they are. So when I say be mindful about how you use your time, at least for me, I find Instagram so time consuming. And now that I am a new mom, like I have a 9-month-old daughter, a baby basically, and that is my full-time job right now. But I'm still trying to make art my small business, and that is basically trying to juggle 2 full-time jobs at the same time. And with everything that Instagram is expecting me to do, and all the demands and the rules that it has, it's taking so much of my time that I already don't have. And honestly, I don't want to spend that time on Instagram or on social media for something that will pass in a few seconds. That is the main reason why recently I took a huge break off of Instagram, because I was so exhausted and I felt so much pressure by being on there, and I was constantly comparing myself with other artists on there. People who have so much more time that they can spend on art and creating and on their business, and time that they have and that they can spend on Instagram, but I don't have the time. And still I am comparing myself to those people, and it makes me feel bad about myself. It makes me feel like I have to do the same thing. Like, I have to work at the same speed, I have to keep up with the pace that the app is setting and that everybody is jumping on and everybody is hustling and I have to do the same because otherwise I will fall behind. I am really not a big fan of the whole hustling culture. I don't think it's a good thing. I think you should take care of your body and your mental health, and if that means that you need to take a step back and that you have to stop hustling, then please do so, because you only have this one time, you only have one body, you only have one time on this earth, you only have one life, and if you just hustle and hustle and hustle and overwork yourself and burn out, how good can that be? I want to be more mindful about how I spend that time. And Instagram really hasn't been doing me a favor in that aspect. So that being said, I do think that there is a positive thing about Instagram, which is that there is some sense of community. I have met some very wonderful people on Instagram, other artists, and I have found artists that I admire and that I think I wouldn't have found if it wouldn't be for Instagram. So I don't think I will quit Instagram like for good, but I really want to put it down on the bottom of my priority list, and I want to spend more time and more energy on things like YouTube or Patreon and my shop, basically, because those are things that I feel good about when I create them. So for example, with YouTube, even though creating a video, sitting down, thinking about ideas, filming the whole thing and editing is taking up much more time than maybe posting something on Instagram. I mean, it's even more time consuming than Instagram already is. But if I make a video and say the video is, 20-30 minutes long, then people who will go on my channel will see that the video is 20-30 minutes long, and if they decide to watch it, they kind of decide to sit down with me for half an hour and spend time with me for half an hour, which they wouldn't do on Instagram. Also, YouTube allows me to talk to you. When I am on YouTube and I watch other vloggers or other artists on YouTube, I feel like I have a much deeper connection with that person, because it feels like they are talking with me, and because I am sitting down for at least half an hour or something with them, I get to spend so much more time with them, and by watching more and more of their content, it feels almost like you kind of get to know that person. Like they might talk about their opinions and their views on things and share behind the scenes stuff. So for me, it's a much deeper connection. For me, doing YouTube videos, or the same thing with Patreon, blogging on Patreon and sharing behind the scenes stuff on Patreon, and like really have this deeper connections with all of my patrons, feels so much better. And it really feels worth putting in the effort and spending the time. And I don't have that feeling with Instagram, which is why I want to put it on the bottom of my to-do list, on the bottom of my priority list. If you don't see me that active on Instagram in the future, please don't worry. I'm not dead. I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm just taking a step back. That being said, for some people, Instagram might be a better choice than YouTube, for example. Some people just don't feel like filming YouTube videos. They are not interested in it. They don't like it. Again, it feels forced to them, forced to create videos, forced the editing. It just doesn't feel good. For those people, Instagram might be the better choice. So I'm not saying that just because I feel so negatively about Instagram, I'm not saying you should do the same. I won't stop social media. I know that this is a huge part nowadays, and I don't want to quit it, even though I'm not a very social person, and even though I'm always behind on those kind of things, like TikTok. I haven't figured it out. That doesn't mean that I want to quit them. That doesn't mean that I don't enjoy them. And it just means that I have to set my priorities, and within all the social media options that you have, I am choosing Patreon, YouTube as my main outlet, I guess. And yeah, I'm just wondering if you enjoy being on Instagram, and if Instagram is a good main outlet for you, or if you think the same way, or if you have a different opinion. Like, if you do, please let me know in the comment section. I would be happy to hear what you have to say. It's just different for every person, but for me it's not good, it's not working. And yeah, I'm just trying to put my opinion about that out there. So yeah, I basically think it all comes down to speed, pressure, and addiction. So those are basically the main three things that I don't like about Instagram. The speed that the app has, that it just forces you to be fast on it, scroll through it, only spend a limited amount of time on it. That it forces you to put out content in a very high pace that is impossible, I believe, for some people. That is impossible for me to keep up with. It's just a pace that is not healthy, in my opinion. And then pressure to do the same thing that everybody else is doing in order to do good, pressure to create content, pressure to make art that you maybe don't want to make, pressure to engage on the app and spend a lot of time on there. Then it's time that you might not have. And then also, obviously, the addiction factor, which is just the way Instagram is set up. It is made so that you stay on there and that you get addicted to it. So those are the reasons why I don't like Instagram, why I don't think Instagram is good for artists, why I think Instagram sucks, and why I want to take a huge step back off Instagram. So I will still be posting on there every now and then, because I still treat it like a sub-portfolio. Basically, I want to put my art out there. I still have a community on there, which I appreciate and which I don't just want to throw away. But I want to put more time, effort and energy into my YouTube and Patreon. Yeah. If you've been on Instagram, if you've been following me on Instagram, maybe consider following me, subscribing here on YouTube, or joining my Patreon, because you're probably gonna be seeing much more of me on those two platforms than you will be on Instagram in the future. That being said, if you have any opinions or things you'd like to say about this topic, please do so in the comment section. Just please remember to be nice and kind to each other. Every person has their own opinion, and every opinion is valid in my opinion. Let's just have a nice discussion and be kind to each other and appreciate the other person's thoughts and opinion, even if it's not the same as your own opinion. That's about it for this video. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, just videos where I sit down and talk to you guys about my thoughts or opinions or things like that, please let me know. And yeah, I guess I see you in the next one. Goodbye.